It has been 120 days since Chris last begged for money. It has been 403 days since Chris last uploaded pages to meet his paid obligations to the Sonichu comic. And it has been 4,063 days since Chris last applied for a job. My name is GiBi and welcome to this special election week Chris Chan weekly update. It's really been 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. He uploaded like 3 videos. It was a lot to go through. You see, you might remember this shiny rock that I ended last week on, and though if we scroll up a little bit, we'll see that Chris's next post, technically a retweet, is an announcement that he was going on a podcast for an interview, and that was an hour long, and I had to sit through all that. That's going to be coming up later. But for now, we're just going to be going through Chris's Twitter. Redraw Sonichu project is creating a redraw of Sonichu. Chris is actually approving of it, and he says, collaborating with others is very helpful, as long as you are all focused on the same dimension, timeline, and area, obviously. The multiple viewpoints and additional people to spell check and add art to the book is usually good, but do keep it one artist per story. Consistency. So Chris is saying that if multiple people work on the same thing, then they have to make sure that they're all tuned into the same timeline, because otherwise they're going to get mixed and crossed all over the place and see a bunch of different timelines. So on October 30th, the night before Halloween, the Team Fortress Analysis Anarchy Red whatever finale aired. It was part 6. Chris did another live stream of that, which is also an hour long, that I'm also going to be looking at later, and that you'll also get to see part of. But for now, we have Chris's reaction on Twitter. He says, I felt this is worth repeating, after I have said it over an hour ago on the live stream for Team Fortress 2 Analysis Anarchy Red vs. Blue Part 6. It is true. Our Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu is still waiting in the new timeline for me to undo the pandemic in 1218 and deliver this body to her, personally, at BabsCon 2020. If I do not get myself and this body into C197 and then back in time after, your Chris Chan can't return. The sacrifice that is also a major blessing is, of course, the existence of Corona in the Omega timeline. Any and all newly created, enchanted, or cursed events you all may make at this juncture will ultimately be rendered moot and neutralized, destined to be in another distant dimension and timeline. So because Chris is going to go back in time, this timeline is going to cease to exist, so nothing that happens, no enchanted or cursed events will matter because this timeline is going to disappear. But we can't ignore that Chris literally just said that if he doesn't go back in time, he can never get his real body back. Obviously, he can just retcon that in the future if he ever wants to be a real Chris again, probably when the pandemic ends. But yeah, that's scary. It should go without saying, but if you all want Mama Chris Chan back, all you need to do is ... It should go without saying, but if you all want our Chris Chan Sonichu, why would he write it twice? It should go without saying, but if you want our Chris Chan Sonichu to return, do not stand in our way or oppose. This is not a challenge. If you all are able to, with your creative might, wisdoms, and powers, psychic powers, a major bonus, y'all can help by praying to her in breaking the Iron Curtain dimensional divide between 1218 and C197, and anything you all feel able to do in breaking it as well. The Iron Curtain composition was portrayed by Richard Kelly in his movies, and Sidarko. Get creative in drawing how to break through into C197. That's a Donnie Darko reference. I don't understand what that's to do with his Iron Curtain. Or why he calls it the Iron Curtain. Okay, so this little messed up tweet thing that we just had, where, it should go without saying, it should go without saying. Chris then quote tweeted this and corrected himself, so he now says, it should go without saying. But he had already wrote it right the first time. So I'm confused. Zane Ghoul asks, hey, in these theorized post-merge world, do you still write comics? Or did you write and draw historical texts based on real adventures from the OCs that merged over to our current dimension? And Chris says, yes to both questions. He will continue to write comics, but his comics are merely histories of these real places, because he is God. Got it. Makes sense. That's awesome. If your writer's block goes away, you should totally write some prequels. No, please just continue the story, Chris. You should totally write some prequels leading up to the merge. That way the continuity will be easier to follow, kind of like DC's Rebirth event. Duly noted. Lopsided Ink says, so I was using my powers to browse other dimensions and came across this. He was a pickle, I kid you not. He's called Pickle Sonichu. I was rolling on the floor laughing. I almost felt that I was going to suffocate. But what does this mean for Quickville? And Chris says, nothing. He's just another Sonichu with his own moderate level of abilities. Chris can't even use his hatred of pickles to say that this fan art isn't real, because to Chris, all fan art is real. Okay, this tweet is from a suspended account. Boy, what happened to this account? It was active a couple days ago. According to the Quickie, this person tweeted out some pro-Biden thing. This is on November 3rd, so it's election day. And between then and now, it's been deleted? Like, what? Did they threaten, like, Trump's life or something? Like, why, how did this account get deleted? Or suspended, not even deleted. Anyway, we get this amazing revelation from Chris. They say, I like the art of Joe Biden, but I'm voting for Lisa Simpson. Which means that in the state of Virginia, Chris wrote in Lisa Simpson for president. The fictional 8-year-old. Someone should call Trump. This is actual voter fraud, okay? Sonichu is voting under Chris's identity. This is why we need voter ID laws, guys. Explain this, Chris Chan. In the dark future of the apocalyptic wastelands, exists a faction called the Quickens. Their leader goes by the name of Christina, the goddess of all dimensions. And here we see Christina, leader of the Quickens. Some terrifying artwork. Chris responds, that does not exist in this timeline, and it does not exist in the new timeline either. But it exists in, one universe, the same universe as Pickle Sonichu, probably. November 6th. Hey everyone, Sonichu here. Just to let you know, but on the fact that after more than 7 months, I am still in Mama Chris Chan's body here, and that our focus has been mainly on the dimension merge and getting myself with this body safely and well into C-197 as soon as possible in the remainder of this timeline. Until further notice, after Mama and I finally switch back in the new timeline, I am not doing any art commissions. Interviews are doable, but all scheduling and setting up is to be done through Noel himself. I will not be able to personally respond to any inquiries during this time. If you all want something in comparison, probably two, to what Mama and I have been going through, you can look up Miss Andrew Blaze and look up what she went through in communicating with her OCs in the spiritual realm between our dimensions, as well as into and with C-197. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. But instead of mass murder or suicide, we have no intention of getting our Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu involved in any of that, and this body is to remain alive for millions of years. Not going to be offing this body anytime, period. So you all have no need or concern to make up such theories on the contrary. Also, the fact that a lot of you make correlations between Mama and other online celebs that she had never ever known or personally met beforehand, static. Not cool. What? I pray to Mama and all of the other deities that each and every individual in this dimension understands that. Thanks. Nobody understands that, Chris. Maybe if you had worded it coherently. Oh, this is the crazy Danny Phantom shooter kid. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a crazy story I'm not going to go into here. Tragically, on November 8th, host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek, died of cancer. It was actually very sad. He was 80 years old, but it's a shame that Jeopardy tapings were postponed because of COVID. Otherwise, we may have gotten some more time to spend with him. But Chris reacts to this. He says, that is a major shame, as Jeopardy is one of Mama's favorite game shows. A moment of silence as we play the simple version of the Jeopardy theme song in his honor. Cheers to you, dude. So this person's asking why nudity is always sexualized, and Chris is responding. He says, that is actually a very good question. The answer is obviously within the perspective of a lot of individuals in general. Fetish and levels of feeling sexy vary from one to another, as well as hormone levels, mentality, and so on. It takes a mental strength to not demonize it. That does not answer anything in the question. He's just saying people are different, not why it happens. Here is Chris's 15-minute sermon, as he was calling it the other week, about being Sonichu or whatever. Again, we'll look at that after I'm done with his Twitter. He says, "Here you are, direct and straight from the soul, heart and all." Speaking of being done with Chris's Twitter, we're done with Chris's Twitter. That means we're going to jump over into Chris's interview land. I'm not going to play the whole interview, obviously. It's an hour long, and I wouldn't want to take views away from the full video, which should be linked in the description. And so enjoy clips of Chris talking for a really long time, and me interjecting the way that I always do, and also my audio changing because it's going to be a different recording. This interview was conducted on October 28th, 2020 by The Create Unknown, a podcast hosted by Kevin Lieber, also known as Vsauce2. The podcast has no visuals, so here's some random footage of Chris in the background. Hope you enjoy that. The interview is an hour long and is linked in the description. The host refers to Chris as female and also as Sonichu. That's probably what I would do, so I don't really have anything to say about that. Here's the intro and their first question to Chris.
Every civilization has its defining epic hero. The Greeks had Achilles. The Greeks and the Romans had Aeneas. The Britons had King Arthur. Citizens of the internet have Mrs. Christine Weston Chandler. Christine has been known online as CWC, Chris Chan, and Christian. And her own evolution is so packed full of details that one YouTube creator has a perpetual documentary series called Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History, consisting of 40-minute episodes. Just 2 weeks ago, episode 44 in that series was released. Now, Christine, what would you like us to call you? Can you tell us name and gender so that we get it right through the rest of the episode?
Yes, you have the body of Christine Chandler, also known as Chris Chan Sonichu here. But as y'all might have gotten a memo on Twitter more than 6 months ago, she and I, Sonichu, the prime of our species, literally swapped bodies. So you got me, Sonichu, who can speak on behalf of Mama and her memories. But yeah, essentially, just want to make that clear. You're talking to Sonichu, not Chris Chan right now. But eventually, she will be able to be back with y'all very soon personally and be able to do these interviews herself. And anyway, so you can still use female pronouns heavily, all things considered. Just wanted to make that clear.
I'm only going to play clips of the interview so that you watch it yourself if you're interested, but I thought that this question was very interesting. They asked Chris why he created the Sonichu medallion. Thinking about it, I guess that I always just accepted that that was a Chris thing that he did, but it is different than most of his creative endeavors because those are usually stolen from other places. The medallion is surprisingly original. So let's hear what Chris has to say.
So what was the origin of the medallion? How did you come up with that idea?
Well, Mama's had that all her life, and she was able to link with her self-counterpart, our Christine Chan, as she's known nowadays, to differentiate from Chris Chan right here. So anyway, so she knows that our Christine Chan ended up with a medallion, finding it having been heavenly bestowed upon her like nearly 2 decades ago from now. And so essentially it's like a magical piece that needs to be activated. And thus it was taken to that cave as chronicled in that book. I believe it's book 2, and thus its powers activated. And as Christine Chan was also literally half Sonichu, coming from the Ki rainbow, it awakened her Sonichu form for the first time. So that's where Mama got the idea, literally from her self counterpart there. And yeah, this is literally half Sonichu, half human as well. So eventually, this thing's got to transform from this 6 foot tall human to a 3 foot 5 tall, not counting the 7-inch ears, Sonichu form.
Let's unpack that. Chris says he got the idea for the medallion because his comic counterpart found the medallion, and the medallion turned him into Sonichu, so he got it from himself. Okay. That does obviously fall in line with Chris's claim that he is chronicling real events from another dimension, but it doesn't really give us any insight as to where he actually came up with the idea. 2005 Chris would definitely have answered that question differently, and it's kind of sad that we will never know the real answer now because he's so deep into his delusions. Now, listen how exhausted the host gets 20 minutes into the interview as Chris just rambles on and on.
And then, don't get me started on the idea, guy. He had to bring in the freaking Nazis, and then Mama had to undo that with her reality stone in the class ring. And that was a major thing, really major. I don't want to go into that. It's just, whew, good grief. A whole bunch of good grief right there.
That's a lot of stuff.
We then get some important insight into Chris, and by important, I mean dreadfully boring.
What is your average day like? Like, what do you do when you get up? What do you do, in the afternoon? What's a day in the life of Sonichu like?
Well, presently, all things considered, the most active times are definitely during the night while this body is asleep, because it ends up projecting and doing everything. Almost like sleepwalking, but it's just like, it teleports everywhere instead, rather. Similar to how, if you watch the show Star versus the Forces of Evil, Star versus the Forces of Evil, where Princess Starfirefly ends up going into her golden goddess type form, and she sleep flies everywhere for a little while, essentially like that. But during the daytime, or pretty much 24/7, 365, this brain is literally connected to the cosmos and all the other dimensions and timelines. So I get lots of incoming and outgoing visions and vibrations and everything. So on, between local events and far events, between this world, the Earth, and C-197, all other worlds, and so on and so forth.
Legitimate question. Is Chris high? And I don't mean, is Chris smoking pot? I mean, is he taking medicine that could be causing a manic episode? Because staring off into the void and connecting at all times to other dimensions and other timelines and feeling the vibrations through the cosmos kind of feels to me like a manic episode. Chris is now going to talk about swapping back into his own body from Sonichu's.
Play random video games on the Nintendo Switch, and binge watch TV shows or watch YouTube videos or whatever, especially during this freaking pandemic. I mean, social distancing. I'm so sick of that. I'm done with this timeline. I want to go back. I want to get this body to C-197. I want to get this thing fully able to transform it to its Sonichu form and everything, and go back in time and prevent this pandemic from ever happening, and then finally get this body back to Mama at BabsCon 2020. And that's when we'll be swapping back, because she's literally stuck in the limbo of time back on the April 10th, 2020. That millisecond of a moment. So, sitting there, and it'll be like a near instant for her when I arrive. It'll be like, hey, I arrived, and yeah, Mama, I'm here. So then at that moment, she and I swapped back. And then, awesome, I finally completed this thing for 6 months. For 6 months. And this job, being a goddess and everything, all these powers and everything, it truly legit. Nobody would be able to have full comprehension of what goes on with this brain, this body, and all the overpowers within it. And it's just like, it's too much for me. And I had thought at one point I could do the job better than Mama Christine Chen, and I was wrong. I admit that on Twitter, and so it's like, after I put now and after, when she and I swapped back, I repledged my loyalty and everything to do my best for Mama Chris Chen and everything. So
yeah.
Whee!
Chris then talked about how characters age differently in the other dimension, which is how Lisa Simpson is an adult there. Then he said this.
But essentially, yeah, in C-197, Lisa Simpson is an adult, and she's been running for president against Herbert Garrison, who's Donald Trump's self-counterpart there.
Who's going to win?
From
Who do you think is going to win?
Lisa Simpson's going to win.
Is that what the polls say, or is that what you think?
Wait. Hold on. Lisa Simpson is Joe Biden, and Mr. Garrison is Donald Trump?
I'm not saying that Biden is Lisa's counterpart at all.
Oh, okay.
I see.
I mean, post-dimension merge anyway. She will be the president of the merged dimension of the United States post-merge anyway. So that's kind of that's a big thing right there. That I mean, I shouldn't be giving too many spoilers, but I mean, Matt Groening already pretty much gave that spoiler. That future episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. That's one spoiler I could definitely indulge and letting y'all know about.
Can you give us another spoiler? It doesn't have to be a serious one. It can be anything. Like, what's something that, excuse me, what's something that we would never expect that we're going to get after the merge? Is there anything cool?
Let me see. What else can I post-merge?
Is there actually, is there anything that is too scary to tell us? Like, are there things that you know that you really don't want, that nobody else can know? Is there a burden of holding those things in?
Among which, yes, but in the end, everybody's gonna continue living in a good, healthy, coexistent type of lifestyle. Except now it'd be like between, regular normal people who previously were considerably regular by this dimension standards, but in the post-merge, they're gonna find better heightened abilities, especially amongst the content creators.
Sure.
So yeah, there's that. There's that one, but also later on, we're gonna have like a mighty, powerful force that comes from another galaxy that we're gonna end up having to face together to help defend this planet from. But that's a whole another kettle of fish right there that I'm not gonna go too much into.
He's talking about the Rokat Empire. That's Jacob Sockness's stuff blending in with Chris Chan lore. I wish they pushed him on that, but they don't.
But hey,
it sounds like it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, but yeah, hey, everybody will get to meet like Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Tony Stark, their favorite OCs and FCs, and even their own respective OCs, and even go to Equestria or another planet. It's on an ease and so forth. So that's definitely
awesome.
gonna be good.
Everybody in the chat is excited for that. Jeff says, yeah, he's looking forward to meeting them all. I mean, who wouldn't want to meet these people? Tom Videogre says that's amazing. Dojangles points out that friendship is magic, which it is. Yeah, so everybody's excited about this.
Chris also says that of all the toys and collectibles he's hoarded and wasted money on over the years, his favorite things in his room are his magic healing rocks. Literally just shiny things. Chris then comments on why he doesn't do commissions or art anymore.
Does Mama do art commissions?
Yeah, but not presently at this time, because we're concentrating on everything at the present moment with the present events, and especially getting this body and me back into C197 so we can do all of that.
Well, that's the priority.
Yeah.
Conrad.
Hedgehog priority one. Hedgehog priority one.
Hedgehog priority one.
Right.
I love it. You've gotta set the agenda like that.
And last but not least, let's talk about Blue Arms.
The Sonic movie just sparked something in my brain. I would love to hear your perspective on that original Sonic the Hedgehog design that came out that created such a backlash that they ended up changing it. They ended up remaking the movie because it looked so weird. What were your thoughts on that Sonic? Tell us about it.
Not with the face was just plain wrong. And there's just a few other aspects as well. And Mama did complain about the blue arms once again, but that felt minor. They decided to keep that in for the movie, but oh well, no harm, no foul. Sonic's arms are always going to be tan, obviously. But yeah, the original design was just no good. That's no good.
It was very scary.
Yeah, but since just to finish that on a quote from the Sonic movie that's actually been memorized. So, as I crashed the cold, dark waters of the Pacific, I realized a few things. A, I have no idea where I'm going. B, saltwater stings. And C, I shouldn't even be here right now, but I am. Why? Why? Because you shot me. You shot me. I'm wet. I'm cold. There's a fish on my head. And clearly I'm not going to be able to do this on my own.
That was excellent.
That's the best finisher we've ever had.
That was the Create Unknown podcast. Now we're going to hop over to Chris's final Analysis Anarchy live stream. This live stream was recorded October 30th, 2020. Chris starts it by talking about his routine.
I've been pretty much living a very active lifestyle. I mean, not everybody's able to do that. I mean, the most active anybody can get with their boring settings upon all things considered, and I am not stereotyping anybody or whatever. But yeah, I'm essentially recreational exercising, running on a treadmill, lifting weights, so on and so forth. I mean, not everybody's got to be tough, durable, and able. And then there's the 1% or less that, just destined to be overpowered and immortal and everything, so...
Okay, Chris is about to say something infuriating, so prepare yourselves.
I got nothing against whatever lifestyles y'all live. Everybody has their own respective lifestyles, even if it's as simple as basic as get up, go work, watch TV, come home, watch TV, now go to bed, up, work, home, TV, bed, up, work, home, TV, bed. I got no quarrels about that at all, but I mean, it just depends on whether you're truly happy living that lifestyle for yourself or not. And as for me, I mean, I just couldn't, it's tough for me to be able to do that extensively.
That's right. Chris can't live a life where he wakes up, goes to work, watches TV, and then goes to bed. He says he's just too active. And no, that's not just Sonichu talking. He's also referring to Chris.
That's not me, and that's certainly not Mama either. It's not Rosie, and... yeah. Active lifestyles. We work very hard. We really do.
Next, Chris talks about Barb.
Well, just to answer the question, yes, Barbara's doing okay. She's all right and well. We recently went to a cardiology appointment for her, and she checked out fine and okay and well. All right? She's in good health.
And then the episode starts. Chris reads along with the whole thing, or maybe he's just copying the dialogue. I'm not sure if he's reading subtitles or not. It's boring. Usually when I do this, I skip around the live stream. Chris is usually silent or he's mouthing along with the audio, so I can tell when he talks because there's spikes in the audio. So I usually go to those to see if he says something interesting. Usually there's actually commentary that I can point to and talk about, but this is just him literally laughing occasionally and making weird sounds. So I present to you the final montage of Chris making weird sounds while watching Red vs. Blue.
Care Bear! Squirrel! Huggle! Ooh, Krakow!
Oh my god, no, let's be Whee! Shun! Whee!
Hooray! Justin!
Whee!
He then literally reads the credits for 5 minutes.
Anthony C. are the director and the baron.
And then he says goodbye and Sonichu logs off.
And that's it for the show. That's it for all these live reaction videos. This is the last one for now. Y'all got the last bits of wisdom you get me in amongst these videos. Maybe one you'll get in the future in the next timeline from me, Sonichu, in my old body, and you'll get some from Mama, back here. But until then, this is Sonichu, the prime of our species, saying, be good to each other and everything. Peace out.
Next, we're going to his 15-minute sermon. This sermon was uploaded on YouTube on November 8th, although it is unconfirmed when it was recorded. Based on the intro and editing, it's obvious that Chris had help creating this video. You can also hear people moving around in the background. Chris talks about how he typed up instructions for the merge 2 Octobers ago, which I've covered extensively on this channel. To hear him rambling, you can check out the full video in the description.
Mama's tweet set were shown to everyone in C197 as well when they got typed up nearly 2 Octobers ago. Since then, the common folk around the earth has been mindset on prep work Anyway, so most everyone has prepared their evac kits, taken up survival and outdoor learning from various books and educational videos, etc.
So Chris just said that people in the other dimension have evac kits and have been studying how to survive without civilization. Also, someone is eating in the background. If our cities are going to merge together, why would they need to survive in the wilderness? Chris is also about to say some weird stuff.
Everyone who has perished so far, meeting Mama's estimates respectively, have safely merged and awakened in their self-counterparts' bodies, brains, and consciousness. The tallied numbers of individuals in C-197 who are confirmed of waking up here to be in the millions.
Yeah, so everyone who's died in the last few years here on our real-world Earth woke up in C-197. That's great. But 500,000 people from C-197 died in their world and woke up here, which is confusing because Chris doesn't say where they are. Also, Notre Dame burned down because of the merge.
Also, we have confirmed buildings and objects fully transitioning into the other dimension from the other side, such as Gotham City in C-197 has seen buildings from this dimension appear on the outskirts around them. And I can go on with the Notre Dame and all the California that burned in favor of those cities from C-197 into 1218, including Elmore. And the OG Rishiram was doing a bang-up job in bringing on the firestorms here.
Chris is now going to talk about being Sonichu.
Alright, so y'all know my origins. It's pretty much born as a Pichu on April 20th, 1992, evolved into Pikachu, collision with Sonic, became the first ever Sonichu, met Rosie, had adventures, learned, grew a lot as a warrior, Quickville, and then some. I often have had dreams and nightmares spawned from the hate-filled alt-dimension fanfics that have been written in this dimension. Our Magic Chan and my love, Rosie Rose Chew, oh thank goodness, they helped me to stay grounded and reminded me to stay calm with meditation and all that. It's been such a major relief. I thank them both and everybody else ever so much, including our Christine Chan, that's Mama's central self-counterpart in C-197, as well as Mama herself.
Chris is now going to complain about the idea guys.
Freaking idea guy and his damnable villain-loving powers put a major pain on our Earth and Equestria in C-197. This damn freaking Nazis manipulating the CPUs with his freaking OC Johnson Wallace, soldier of war and whatever. What a freaking manipulator. I just kick his ass all over the place.
Chris is now going to ramble about his superpowers and energy and his connection to the cosmos. The editor adds aura behind Chris as he speaks about his aura energy.
It also goes off in massive aura energy. Glowing! Look at all this glow around me. If y'all could see this through the video, you are psychically, spiritually awesome!
Chris then pledges allegiance to himself.
I sincerely pledge and repledge my duty, loyalty, and best of myself, my powers and abilities to her now, and after which she and I swap back to our original bodies in a new timeline. I have learned, I have grown characteristically, and over this time in humble service to and for her. All praise, prayers, and power to our goddess of 1218 and C-197, Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu.
This is just basic Chris Chan stuff, really. If you read his Twitter or you've been following him at all and reading Sonichu, then there's nothing new here. If you only know Chris from the comprehensive documentary, then this sermon isn't really detailed enough for you to follow what's going on. I'm working on a redo for my Absurds episode on Chris to fix misinformation and to tell the whole story up to date. I'm trying to make it a summary for beginners. Now that this is out of the way, I'm going to jump over to a Q&A that he did on Discord. Alright, no face cam for this part because I would cover up the text that we have to read. Let's go. On the afternoon of the 4th of November 2020, Chris, as Sonichu, answered another 10 user-submitted questions for Discord Q&A 10. How do you feel about indirectly leading to the creation of kiwi farms? Mama and I, we feel mixed emotions on that indirect creation. On one hand, it's humbling, because her suffering and trials led to this creative outlet for the online individuals, with or without the fetish for hatred. And on the other hand, the feeling is regretful, because the hatred and hurtful sentiment still remains at times. On a third hand, the whole thing is a double-edged sword. That's the whole point of the two-handed metaphor, Chris. You already did that. The whole thing is a double-edged sword on its log of a mixed, genuinely kind and supportive, as well as the plain ironic and the spiteful commentary, feelings, criticisms. I don't know what any of that meant. The respite being that it is also a source of some specific information and intel that we use as reference on the rare necessity. What is the current status of Christine's Twilight Sparkle Secret Fic Folder project? Can we expect a new expansion pack or individual cards in the future? Chris responds, the Sonichu and Roastu cards for Twilight Sparkle's Secret Fic Folder card game is ongoing as well, so there will likely be more cards from Mama's hands in addition to the comic books down the line in the new timeline. Does that mean that we're literally never going to get another Sonichu comic in this timeline unless he goes back in time? That would be depressing. Christine, today you identify with female pronouns and are a prominent figure in the LGBT community. I'm sure they love that. But this wasn't always the case. How early in your life did you realize you were assigned the wrong gender? Chris responds, on recollection, there have been a number of instances wherein that fact was hinted at. The times of looking into alternative universes wherein Mama was born female. A bunch of what-if scenarios. Many self-examinations in the mirror and within herself. Past examples wherein she was more feminine than masculine in habits, traits, and so on. The feeling was there since birth, but the earliest moment when the thought process was going further was around when Mama was in 7th grade. And, of course, the fated event in June 2014, when she came to the conclusion and started down the hormone replacement therapy and all of that. What happened in 7th grade? Hey Chris, have you ever experienced anything paranormal, ghosts, demon, folklore creatures, etc.? If so, can you describe the experiences? Chris answers, yes, many times, aside from seeing into C-197 through the Iron Curtain. Throughout this life, these eyes have been able to see into the void and the spiritual lingering limbo dimensions. To list a few, there was the time at Mama's Aunt Corina's I can't say her name, I'm so sorry. Corina Inge? There's a time at Chris's aunt's funeral, on February 24th, 2009, where all the souls appeared before Mama, and they wished her a happy birthday, as well as wishes for a safe journey on the trip to Cleveland, Ohio the next day. And there were the times when Mama visited the abandoned DeJarnet Sanitarium, DeJarnet Sanitarium, and was able to see and speak with the lost souls there, good and bad, mostly good souls. And Mama has this ability to see into the history of an individual, person, or object, and sometimes find the lost soul connected to said object or related to the person. Do you have any advice for trans people who are currently transitioning? For the love of God, don't listen to Chris Chan. Chris says, never regret or turn back. That is horrible advice, Jesus Christ. Never regret or turn back if you genuinely feel you are the gender you identify as and are transitioning toward. And never let anyone who tells you otherwise or gives spiteful commentary reach your views and hearing. Keep your self-confidence and go forward as you do what makes you feel happy and satisfied. Hi Chris, if the world were to end tomorrow and you had a suitcase, what would you bring along with you as you run away? Chris responds, the basics and essentials, as well as the old books, the cell phone, pen, paper, and clipboard. I thought he wasn't making new comics, what's he need all that stuff for? Dear Sonichu, what's it like living in Christine's body? What's your biggest dislike and like about living here rather than in Quickville? Chris responds, thank you for asking me directly and acknowledging me. I deeply and fully appreciate that. Going from 3'5" to 6 feet tall is a major throw in my viewpoint for one. The body does as I will it to and suggest, yet it also does for itself with its backup systems very powerful. It can get annoying when the brain and body act on their own, and all I can do is observe. The running speed of this body is improving very well, but I still miss running at Mach speed. So much is just so slow to me now, yet also normal speed simultaneously. On another note, I don't know how y'all can get along with no fur. It gets chilly and sensory on the surface of the skin. At least you all do have the clothes. Us able animals do like and appreciate the option to wear clothes as well. My biggest dislike of living in 1218 rather than C197 is the restrictions in this dimension, which are slowly being less restrictive in regards to magic, psychic, and extra-dimensional abilities and superpowers. I didn't think that Sonichu had extra-dimensional abilities and magic and psychicness. Dear Christine, what's your favorite ethnic cuisine? Christine cuisine Chinese. Chinese, Mexican, American, etc. Chris responds, Mom is not picky, and she's very much open for sampling the cuisine of other cultures and countries. Call her one that enjoys a sampler platter of the world's delicious edibles. What she does like out of them is the vegetable and meat combinations, in a simple meal or in soups or noodle deals. She is also a big fan of fruits. Christine Sonichu, does Quickville have a sister city? I've read that Charlottesville is closely linked with Quickville, but I couldn't find an official answer. Additionally, does Quickville happen to have any sports teams? Chris responds, the nation of Quickville, including all of its cities within, exists to the north to northeast of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Whether or not there is a city or forest or field in that area in Dimension 1218. All sister locations of the cities and whatnot in either dimension in the other dimension from the origin is simply the exact location where that city is in the first place. If there is a city in the other, that is the answer to your question, but since Charlottesville is well south of Quickville, the two cities are not sister cities. Quickville does have a sports team, the Quickville Zappers. Their logo is a set of lightning bolts, and their mascots are a Sonichu and a Rosechu. Regular ones, but trained to speak human, put on occasional light shows, encourage the audience, and to help clear the stadium gym out in case of incoming impact or danger. If you were invited back to your high school to give a talk to the students, what would you talk about? Chris responds, when Mama is personally invited to give talks to the students, her talk will include motivation towards being kind and empathetic of and towards each other, to ignore and not take any negative remarks from anyone, encouragement of all being themselves as they will, a few related short life stories and experiences, additional good nuggets of wisdom, staying creative, and so on, in empathetic kindness and optimistic confidence and mindset. That's the end of the Discord Q&A and the end of this very long weekly update. Sorry it took so long, my computer's actually been having problems. It's actually having problems as I record this right now. It keeps blue screening, which is super fun when I'm in the middle of rendering something. You can follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devin. I'm working on more episodes of The Absurds, more Chris Chan related stuff. I'm still doing my Tulpa video. If you want to see my funny video of Joe Biden, which is kind of more relevant now that the election is over, maybe, then you should get my second channel, Puffin Muffler, to 1,000 subscribers. Oh, and here's this.
Cool. We both have cats. My cat's name is Pig, and Pig is asleep on the floor over there.
The little piggo is sleeping on the floor. I bet you say that to all the ladies.